Hey everybody. Okay, next video, maybe the last one today. Something a little bit different. So, in case you guys don't know, I'm not only a gamer that plays video games, but I'm really into tabletop games. I find that gaming, again, I've said this many times, for me, it's a social experience. It's something you do with the people closest to you, people that you love, like your friends, family, and so on. So I started off. I think I've been playing tabletop role playing games since I was 14 years old, and I was always really into it. And one of my loves is Dungeons and Dragons. I think that, and it's not only D&D. So in case some of you like hipster tabletop guys chime in, I didn't only play D&D, but it was my first experience with role playing. Was so it's always been near and dear to my heart. And if you don't know, Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop games are also under assault by essentially cultural vandals that want to reinvent everything in their image. And there are obvious ways they do it, and there are subtle ways that they do it. But the absolute state of Dungeons and Dragons is in jeopardy. I mean, like, they're losing money left and right. The culture is shifting, and all of that. And if you're someone who, for example, doesn't like D&D, like maybe you've never played a tabletop game or whatever, but you're into like JRPGs or role-playing video games, I hope you understand that D&D has had a cultural impact that can't be measured on Japanese RPGs, on anime, on everything. And so, if you're a fan of those things, just realize that this all comes from the kind of worlds that Gary Gygax built, the imaginations that he sparked. If there's a one anime short series that I'm a huge fan of called The Record of Lotus War. And The Record of Lotus War is literally a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that was turned into a novel that was later adapted into an anime. So if you've never seen Record of Lotus War, I highly recommend it. But basically, any other RPG or any like Japanese RPG or anime that takes place in a fantasy setting, it can probably be traced back to something like Dungeons and Dragons. So with that said, I have this video of these well, modern types. This is a video clip I'm going to put on the screen now um, on the history of D&D. So it's people supposedly celebrating Dungeons and Dragons because D&D has recently hit like a milestone, okay, in terms of its anniversary. And it's made by Wizards of the Coast. So there's a company that bought D&D like a while back, and Hasbro, who currently owns the property. And they're talking about D&D. Now I want you to listen to this clip, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on this. Okay, here we go.
And it's important that this is a historical document. So there are things, it was a different time. So we've had an inclusivity review of all these materials.
Multiple. So let's take a step back here. Let's clarify. There are materials in original Dungeons and Dragons that would never pass our inclusivity reviews today. And a lot of it is, some of it you can understand. Like, okay, these are a bunch of war gamers, and they're using armies from history. And so when they create a warrior class for Dungeons and Dragons, they call it the fighting man, right? Because that's what they were used to. And they were all men. They were all white dudes from Lake Geneva and the Twin Cities. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, there's a lot of material in this book. And I won't go over all of it. But it would not pass our inclusivity reviews today. Well, we couldn't change it. It's history. What we can do is acknowledge it and show how far we've come. Because that's not D&D anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely reprehensible. So you have the company that owns the property shitting on the property's history. And by the way, they're also shitting on the creator, Gary Gygax, because they're saying, oh, he's just a white dude. Do you know that Gary Gygax, he's the guy who gave us this? This is a gift, right? I mean, being a tabletop role-playing designer is not necessarily a lucrative business endeavor. I've known a lot of people who have tried to create their own tabletop games, and there's a reason why most companies end up having to do multiple editions, because it's a difficult thing to keep up, you know? So it has to be a labor of love. And I think for Gygax it was. It's also worth pointing out, and I know they're never going to acknowledge this, and this is something that a lot of people struggle with, but Gary Gygax was Christian. So this is something they're never going to bring up because it's not convenient. And I'll read you some things about his personal life in case you guys don't know. So he used to hunt with a bow and arrow and a gun. He was a gun collector, so big on the First Amendment. He was born in Chicago, which is my hometown. He owned a variety of rifles, shotguns, and handguns. He was a big Bears fan. And him and his wife became Jehovah's Witnesses, but he ended up leaving that, but remained a Christian. And his favorite Bible verse was Matthew 5:16, which I will read for you guys. Now, I am a Christian, but I'm not pushing this on anybody. I'm just telling you that, like, you know, what these people want you to think is that nothing of value comes from outside of their orthodoxy. Nothing that's worth anything. And I'm finding more and more that they're not just wrong about that, they're backwards about that. Because Gary Gygax gave us D&D. No one has matched this. I mean, other people have created role-playing games. I'm a fan of Kevin Simbidia. I liked Mutants and Masterminds. I played Rifts. I played the Robotech game, the Ninja Turtles game. I've played lots of systems, Deadlands, Weapons of the Gods, what was it? I already said Deadlands. Legend of the Five Rings. There's lots of good stuff out there. But Gygax started this, you know? And so anyway, here's the Matthew quote from the King James Version. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And I think that Gary Gygax deserved a lot better. I think D&D deserves a lot better. I think this whole idea that, like, we've moved on, and like if you hate the property so much and the people who made it, why'd you buy it? I think, I don't know. I think it's worth pointing out that all of our loves, all of our passions are being attacked. And we are being driven to division by people who have no love for anything beautiful. So, anyway, thanks guys for coming on. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you play tabletop games? How do you feel about this? Have you seen the direction that Dungeons and Dragons has been headed in? I mean, I stopped buying their books years ago, and I advised that, I'm never going to tell you what to do with your money, but I personally will not give money to people who hate me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Again, try to help me get to 500 subs. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Long live Vivian.